The drive to succeed and the unrelenting passion to be the best is a part of who we are. It's in our DNA, the indomitable spirit of champions. With strength and vigor, we celebrate with pride the glory of hard-earned victories. We celebrate the greatness that is within us all. We celebrate Jamaica.
Talk Up Youth is powered by National Baking Company in association with Cran Water, a Stanley and Empress production giving the youth a voice.
Talk Up Youth.
So we come to know these youths and show these youths. Talk up youths, help the youths to know them roots. Nurture them, protect and love and hear these youths. Music make them know I love we show these youths. To save the youth, not kill the youth.
Talk Up Youth encourages all youth to find tangible solutions for their issues.
Season 6, the best of past seasons, the interview, the panel discussion, and dub poetry by Stepper.
Are you ready for today's show? Today's topic is...
The bill we come for building youths in action, Jamaica. We are the youth in Jamaica.
Samantha, first and foremost, I want to commend you and thank you for coming on Talk Up Youth today to share your story with Jamaica and the entire world. I know when our producers called you that you hesitated. Why did you hesitate to come and share your story on mental health?
Well, firstly, I think there's a stigma attached to mental health. And until we've overcome that stigma, there's always this fear of being judged by society. Because once somebody hears that you have a mental illness, they start to view you differently.
Like how?
Well, for me, they start to put you in boxes. So, oh, that mad girl or that weird girl, or something is wrong with her, something is wrong with her head. And I think they don't take the time out to understand the various mental illnesses that you have and how each affect a person.
Well, let's go into your mental illness. And I know you're a champion and a warrior for the cause of dealing with mental health and mental illnesses in Jamaica. What was your diagnosis?
Well, I was diagnosed with PTSD in 2012.
PTSD would be?
Post-traumatic stress disorder. And to further understand what it is, it can be caused by emotional, physical, sexual abuse. It can be caused by the death of being in an accident. So it's normally caused by some trauma. And the person does not have to be the one that the trauma happened to. It could be...
could have happened to their family member.
Yeah, yes. It could be because of something that happened to their family member as well.
Okay. Now, with post-traumatic stress disorder, what led to that? What happened to you and at what age?
Okay, for me, it was due to sexual abuse, and that happened when I was 16.
16. And that must, I mean, it's a terrible thing, but we are hearing many cases of it in Jamaica. And the question is, do young people go and get psychological evaluation when they've been through these kinds of trauma?
Well, it's not something that is common. So a lot of young persons, they tend to, especially as it relates to sexual abuse, they tend to want to keep it private. And they tend to not want to sort or search for the particular help that would, particular help for them.
Okay. No, I'm so sorry about the trauma that you faced, and I know that you are seeking help. What are some of the signs, though, of these mental illnesses? Post-traumatic stress disorder? Yeah. PTSD. Just so we can recognize, so parents can recognize it, teachers, friends can recognize it in someone they know. What are some of the signs we should look out for?
Well, for PTSD, you have person suffering from it has flashbacks of the event. There is insomnia as well, which is the inability to sleep. There is depression can be caused because of this, and anxiety as well. The eating habits might change. They become withdrawn. And
Why should we remove the stigma attached to mental illnesses such as anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder?
well, for one, I think if society removes the discrimination as it relates to mental health issues, it would be easier for persons suffering from these issues to seek help. And I think it would remove the discrimination and the fear of being judged because of these issues.
Okay. Why did you decide to be a warrior and advocate for mental health in Jamaica?
But I think mental health is, it's not focused, it's not something that Jamaican society focus on. And it leads to a lot of further issues. And when something happens to somebody down the line and, you know, the media covers it, but they don't necessarily focus on what might have been the cause for this incident to happen.
So your advice now to the country, you know, the police force, the Ministry of Health, what advice would you like to offer them in dealing with this in Jamaica?
Well, firstly, I think we should recognize the various mental health illnesses and provide facilities for the government. They should provide facilities for persons to be able to go to deal with it or control it. And for society, I think they should be more informed of these illnesses, and there should be more understanding of these illnesses as well.
You mentioned a few illnesses here. Are there any more you can enlighten us about, so just we have a clearer understanding?
Okay, you have PTSD, which is the post-traumatic stress disorder. You have bipolar disorder. You have schizophrenia. I think that is the one that is more known to Jamaicans. You have anxiety disorders as well.
How are we supposed to treat and heal and deal with mental illnesses as an individual? If somebody's watching and they know somebody or they feel that they have a mental illness, what are they to do?
Well, first, seek help. So you can go to your general practitioner, and you can explain what is happening, and he would refer you to one of the departments that deal with it. So if it's Ward 21 at UHWI. Secondly, the psychologist or psychiatrist will further assess you. The psychiatrists normally are the ones that deal with the prescription of the medications that would control some of the symptoms, yes, that you have. And then the psychiatrist now deals with the emotional aspect. They deals with the thoughts and such. So you can control it with medication, control the illness with medication, but the therapist now controls it with gives you an outlet to talk about what is happening.
Is talking important?
Yes, it is.
Great. I want to thank you so much. You're functioning, you're very normal, and we want to remove that stigma right now attached to young persons or any person that has a mental illness. We do know that there are also about 2,500 cases of child and adolescent mental disorders seen at public health clinics across the island recently. The Ministry of Health has mandated the recently appointed mental health task force to put this growing problem among its agenda items. So I'm saying, youth, get diagnosed, hashtag get treated, hashtag get support, and hashtag remove the stigma, right? High five, Samantha. She was nervous, people, but she did it. She's an advocate for mental illnesses in Jamaica so that we remove the stigma and, heal our nation's youth. And we're going to give our Talk Up Youth team a chance, other young people to discuss the issues they know and also to help create some of those solutions. So, final word to any young person struggling with mental illness, what would you say to them? Final sentence.
Get treatment. Seek support.
We said it. All right, thanks, Sam. He wasn't so bad. But you're nervous. Thank you so much.
We have to kill the youths, they have a youth in Jamaica.
There's a deep-seated culture here in Jamaica that states that mental illnesses are not real. And even if they are real, then that person is clearly seeking some sort of attention. It's not that bad, just snap out of it. All you have to do is get up and go outside. Wrong. Mental illnesses are a true and a real thing, and they need to be talked about. We can't continue to stigmatize it. As a mental health advocate, I've researched and found that depression and schizophrenia are the major mental illnesses here in Jamaica. We make up 20% of the world's burden on diseases. That's an issue that needs to be attacked. We cannot continue to stigmatize it and allow persons who are suffering to not get the sort of attention that they need.
Because of the stigmatization, as Christina had mentioned before, youths are silent. Just end the silence, and my issue is that they're too quiet. So just talk up the things them so that we can be able to help you.
My issues with mental health in Jamaica is the lack of knowledge, which leads people to be very dismissive on the topic. They don't understand how serious it is, and even if they do understand, they're very dismissive because of certain stigma, according to what my two fellow parents just said. There's this toughen up mentality in Jamaica, and it's been leading to a lot of suicide because people don't want to say anything because they know what's coming. It's going to be toughen up. It's not that serious. Yes, I understand we were given the same assignment, but when I saw that word that I couldn't understand, it felt like the end of the world. And yes, there are days when it's harder for me and it's not for you. I get it. I get that you're stronger, but I have a mental problem. No, I'm not angry. No, I don't have an anger problem. I have a mental health problem. And I think until we understand the definitions, there are over 200 different types. And until we understand that, we'll be very dismissive about it. And I think the toughen up culture needs to be, we need to rid of it. I share a very close relationship with it. And people were very dismissive about it. People were saying stuff like, oh, you deserve to die because there's nothing too big that you couldn't get over. But I understand that there are days when it really feels like you can't get over it. And unless you have somebody there to hold your hand and pull you out of it, that's not going to be the case for you because that's what mental health is. It's not something you get over.
I think for parents and guidance counselors and persons who are in the teaching realm or who are interacting with children and adolescents, they need to know some of the signs and some of the symptoms of mental health, such as depression and anxiety. And also with the stigma, with this education, we also remove the fact that mental health is a disease just like hypertension and diabetes and needs to be treated.
I like to agree with Samantha. She was saying that teachers and peers and other persons around us don't know how to deal with people who are facing depression or anger issues or any mental health. I think that has to do with our lack of emotional intelligence, which is the knowledge of understanding interpersonal relationships on an intrapersonal level. Which is like, I can relate to somebody else's feelings or somebody can come and talk to me or discuss with me about something and I can give them quality advice or I can recommend them to someone.
We can't have a harmonious society if there are persons in the law enforcement and the judiciary system who are not aware of the issues that the people go through. Honestly, can you imagine persons who are suffering from mental unhealth going to prison just because the police are not aware of the problems that they face? They're unable to respond and act accordingly to how they are supposed to because of this illness. Just take the case, for instance, with Delroy McIntosh in Westmoreland. This man was mentally unstable, and he was in front of his house in an empty house with ganja leaves scattered around him. And a neighbor called the police, and the police arrested him for a charge of having ganja of less than 2 ounces. And this man was mentally unstable, so he was unprepared and he was unable to even plead guilty to the charge. And this man was lost in the prison system for over 24 years. This is foolishness. This cannot go on. A group of law students and their tutor, thank God they saved this man from spending even more time in the prison. They were able to deal with this because they were aware of the mental unhealth issues that are in Jamaica. And more persons, especially those in the law enforcement and the judiciary system, need to be aware of these symptoms and signs to treat the cases properly.
Not only have we brought up some very important issues, but we've just given you some emotionally provoking stories as well. Stay with us as we discuss these topics after the commercial break.
We have to kill the youths, they have a youth in Jamaica.
I know I can depend on my barber to give me the perfect haircut every time. Respect is also due to my bus conductor. He ensures that I am not left behind and I get on board safely. It's good to see the police protecting and reassuring with courtesy. My journey through life is unfolding every day. I pledge my heart forever to serve Jamaica, our shining homeland, with pride.
Mommy had it really hard raising 3 kids on her own.
At 17 years old, I became a father.
I started baking because I wanted to make a little extra money to just go to school.
At the time, I had to use small-scale farming to support both myself and my daughter.
When the time came to pay for my SE6 subjects, the scholarship from Cranwater, that was a blessing.
The scholarship was actually one of the greatest things that I could earn. I'm determined to be an inspiration for other young people.
Attention all children, youth and parents. Talk of Youth in association with National Baking Company, Cranwater and NCB presents the Talk of Youth Youth Edutainment Day. Saturday, October 29. It's going to be a fun day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the Ranny Williams Center lawn on Hope Road, Kingston. Admission is free. Youth DJs, career counseling, resume bank and booth. Youth advocates, come out, games and rides, sexual and reproductive tests and HIV testing for free. Lots of giveaways and more. Hosted by me, Empress. Roll out with the family. All solutions are got dead. It's a fun environment. Talk of Youth. I'm a Steffi. Talk of Youth.
We have to kill the youths, they have a youth in Jamaica.
Deja, you mentioned that you've had personal experience with this topic. Could you tell us some more about it?
Well, yeah, I know what it's like to feel like it really is the end of the world, because with mental health issues, what happens is that you make mountains out of a lot of moles. And it's like the moments are usually bigger than really what it is. I'm a recording artist, and I remember a couple months ago I spent a lot of money on a video shoot. It was a short film that we were filming, but it was also a video shoot, and it was a complete bust. Everybody had to go home. I paid the makeup artist, I paid for the location, and I lost all of that money, and I had no footage to show for it. And it wasn't a fault of my own, but because of my mental health issue, I went home and I really felt like, you know what, I am done. I've spent months planning this video shoot. I've done all the choreography. I made the outfits. I did everything right. I was focused. I did everything right, and I have nothing to show for it. And I said, you know what, I'm done. I'm not gonna stay here. And had I not have somebody around me, had my boyfriend not come the next day to hold my hand through it, I'm pretty sure I would not have been here, because I thought it was the end of the world. I thought I had nothing to live for because of it. And I think if we don't have people who won't dismiss it, if you don't have somebody around you who's not dismissive and say, oh, get over it, then you're really going to take it as something that you can't get over. And if you don't have somebody to hold your hand and say, listen, take as much time as you need. Listen, this is what we're going to do. We are going to find another way. And people need that. We're humans and we need that. And even if you don't have mental health issues, you want that. You need that. So just imagine not having mental issues and not having somebody there to hold your hand sometimes.
Being on social media, when there's a topic of mental health and mental illnesses, it's the most aggravating thing to read personally, because it just demonstrates the amount of the lack of awareness that's there about mental illnesses and mental health. I've been surrounded by a lot of persons, friends and persons who I advocate to, who they don't want to seek the attention that they need, or they don't want to talk about their issues because of this perception that we have of mental illnesses. So if you have mental illness, it clearly means that you're a mad person walking down the street eating out of garbage. That is mental illness. So because of that picture that we have, persons are afraid that if I go out and talk to somebody and tell them that, listen, I have depression, or I have bipolar, or I have anxiety, or it's very dismissive, so it makes it hard for anybody wanting to come out and say it. And when you're on social media where it's everybody's thoughts are in real time, you see all of these coming all at once, rapidly, everybody saying, no, but what make him commit suicide? Him couldn't find something else to do with himself. Yeah, man, him should have died, or something to that effect. And when you see that sort of insensitive comment coming out, it's very disheartening, because people don't understand that if you don't have a mentally healthy society, we'll forever stagnate. We will never progress or move towards or reach those developmental goals that we have, because the people are mentally unhealthy, and we don't want to go out and seek attention, or we don't want to talk about these things because of this cultural perception that we have that if you have a mental illness, you're mad, or it's not real, it's all in your head.
Persons usually say you should think before you talk. These persons don't even think at all. They just write it down because they're stating their opinion, and that's what social media is for, stating your opinion freely. But you find that persons of mental unhealth, they are so much impacted by these statements, so much impacted by the stares and just the standards of society, that there's a research done, and you find that persons who actually know of their conditions and who have actually visited the UA hospital or even gone to Bellevue Hospital, they don't go for their prescriptions because they feel as if they should get the money, they should dress nice, and they should go down there. They should have their pride with them because of what society portrays about it.
I don't think enough programs are implemented. I'm just going to be very honest about it. I don't think it's taken seriously in Jamaica. I'm just going to say. I just think it's something that they say, oh, yeah, we have a mental health issue. Let's just build a hospital. If you suffer from mental health, go to the hospital or something. They don't have suicide hotlines. They don't have ads that are, if there are suicide hotlines, I don't know about it because I've never seen not even one ad.
But they do exist.
It doesn't matter. No, listen. I've seen they spend a lot. I've gone to a lot of 5K runs, and we have a problem here because people are dying. If people are dying, you have a problem. And I've seen a lot of people commit suicide in Jamaica, and it's something that seems to be unheard of, but it happens, and it happens a lot. Now, if you have people killing themselves, then you're having a very bad problem, which means you need to address it. Okay, and I've never seen not one ad about a suicide hotline. And when I live in Canada, I've seen it run. I just keep seeing it. And if I know that if I have a problem, I have the number saved, because when I was in Canada and I felt like I wanted to talk to somebody, I didn't need to go search for anybody. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
And when you're on a bus, you see ads running about, listen, talk to somebody. You can talk to somebody. I've never seen that in Jamaica. I've seen ads about everything else. I've seen ads about buying this and buying that, but I've never seen companies say the corporate their social responsibility to us as companies, and I don't see them offering that sort of help to us. I don't see them putting up any ads about, listen, you can just talk to somebody about it, like what you said. I don't see anything being implemented, nothing implemented in schools. It's just something that they say, oh yes, let's just build a hospital, and that's it.
I'm going to have to agree with Deja. I think that the kind of system that we have in Jamaica is that the government, the Ministry of Health, they're more reactive rather than proactive.
I like to intervene by saying that the rate of suicide is upsurge, especially since this year amongst our males is of high concern. While going at UTech, I walk around and motivate people. But they're saying that I am weird, I am mad, and all these things, because I'm saying the youths are supposed to stand firm. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have some issues. I always shout my bridge in them, say, yo, what go on? You alright? Ask them if them good, we are chill. I say, you alright right there, so you're good. How you feel today? It's not nothing about being gay or nothing, you know what I mean? Some of them kind of feel like it's sort of, mushy and but under that, I have to care about my brethren, I have to care about others around me, you know what I mean? A lot of time I just randomly call persons and ask them what's up or okay. Sometimes they don't even know what some people are going through, right?
Okay, so recent research has shown from about 2007 to maybe 2010, as it pertains to suicide, it is a very steady rate. We have one of the lowest suicide rates in Jamaica, but an article did say that just because we have a low rate doesn't mean that we shouldn't pay attention to it, especially since a lot of suicides are underreported. And in another research, it said that women are more likely to have suicidal thoughts, but we don't act on it as much as men. And it's simply because if I'm feeling a certain way, I can go to Christine and say, Christine, I had a bad day, I feel like this, and she'll talk to me. But in our society, if Ramari goes to his guy friend and says, yo, I feel like I want to cry, about it, just because of how society views how males should be. Them not to be softly.
But I think that's where we should come. Yeah,
they just spoke about
toughen up thing. But that's why I was about to say to Ramari, I don't want you to say that you should stand firm, because then it sort of becomes dismissive. Like I know what you need for, like, you need to be like a bit stronger. Like I think we should, like, we have a responsibility to each one,
with
because
encouragement.
Yeah, we're all one. There's this oneness in the universe that we tend to ignore, that we are all connected, which means that no man is an island. I don't care what you think, that you might think you are that person right now, but we are all connected. And when you die, you die.
Well,
so we have a responsibility to everybody. If I see you looking sad, even if I don't know you, I'm supposed to come to you, because we are one. You are me and I'm you. And I should come to you and I should check for you, because that's what we're a country. And if we don't do that for each other, then we're going to be stagnant. We're not going to move. We're not going to grow.
Well, Deja, I realize that we're all talking about mental health, like the after effects and stuff, but we need to look at the root. Where did it all start? How does one become mentally ill, right? It can be a hereditary problem, right? It's genocidal, your family has it, so therefore you're going to have it, right? It also depends on what stressor you get. Someone died, like my brother died when I was in second year pharmacy, and I'm telling you, it cut me deep. You get me? Breakups, you were with someone and they just dump you, or they go married somebody else. You were like, so what was I? I was just a side chick. Was I not wife material? But we need to understand that, it's a serious issue, and it can be maintained, right? There's pharmacotherapy, there are drugs that can treat it. There's also psychotherapy, counseling to alleviate or lessen or eradicate the underlying problem.
Just to go back to something that Romario said regarding males, and what Samantha had said as well, this gender stereotype that we have here in Jamaica, where we have this belief that men should not express their emotions, because if they express their emotions, you're a gal. So we have that sort of mentality that leaves men to not want to express their emotions and express what they're going through, get the burden off of their chest. So when we have that, and when we perpetuate that sort of gender stereotype, then it leads men to internalize everything that they're going on with, and everything remains up here and nobody talks about what is happening to them. And it leads back again to stigmatization and discrimination, how we view these things. And another thing, I remember there was this mentally ill person, this mentally ill man. He was on the street one day. There was a police officer in his car sleeping, and he went to trouble the police officer. The police officer shot him. No, this person, the community apparently knew him and knew that he had a mental illness. But the community, the way that they treated him, it was as if the boy love go on and trouble people every day. See people him go and go trouble them, not understanding that he had a mental illness, and not understanding that there are ways in which you can speak to a person with a mental illness.
Like we tend to reject people who sort of have mental issues instead of embracing them and empowering them and motivating them.
And then it goes back to Kimberly's silence thing, this culture of Jamaicans saying, anything will happen to you, left it at the yard, no carry it, go outside, no make nobody hear about it. And it starts from things that are happening in the home as well. I remember there's this little girl who was raped when she was younger, and that had severe effects and impacts on her throughout her life. But she couldn't say anything about it because her parents and her family members tell her, keep it in the house, don't carry it, go outside, don't go disgrace me a road, don't go embarrass the family a road. That cannot continue. That is absolutely ridiculous.
And Christina, research actually shows that if you were raped or if you had a bad breakup, it can change your whole personality, right?
It does.
You can become narcissistic. very controlling, because man has done you something like, oh my God, I just hate men, like every single day. But that is just a temporary emotion. But people won't understand that if you were raped, you're going to become more borderline. Like, you're going to want to slap man and say, you know what, me need to show man how real man. You get what I say? So it changes your whole personality and demeanor.
I think as a country, it's how we look at mental health. So even in policies, they focus on mental health and mental illnesses, as being schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, stuff that affect you chemically or are more aligned to those kind of things. We don't really look at anxiety and depression, which a lot of persons our age and younger go through. So that's one of the major issues why it's something that needs to be talked about, that it's not just schizophrenia. So that's why everyone says if you're mentally ill, you're mad, because the first thing you think about is that schizophrenic person who is talking to themselves. Exactly. But mental health is a broad spectrum. It's way more than just bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. But it's depression, it's everything, it's anxiety. Anything that makes your mental health unhealthy is a mental health problem.
And depression kills. I must say that depression actually kills. I mean, like, what if you're a med student, right? And you know you're an A student, you're doing your work, and you just don't understand how you're probably failing pathology. You know you're digging deep, and you're at it. And sometimes that really affects you. You feel like a failure. Oh my God, I'm hopeless, I can't do this. And you just lose yourself, you start eating a lot. Some people stress eat, some people lose weight, and all of that. But we need to talk out. You get what I say? We need to voice our issues. And
I think you can't just say people need to talk out, because we have a culture. You have to eradicate the culture before people. You can't just say to somebody, say, all right,
try to find someone you can confide
you can't
in.
say that, because you can't just say try. It's like almost like you're turning it all on the person suffering and saying you should go talk to somebody.
I understand it's very hard to talk out, but
you see, right now, I'm very happy that you mentioned the whole school thing and that you mentioned the anxiety thing, because right now, one of the biggest problems our youth face right now is this living up to the standards that society has now set. And with the rise of social media, everybody's life is just right here. So it's just right there to see. And then there's this big illusion of, oh, he's doing that and I'm not. I mean, he's 25 and I'm 25. And he has it all together, but I don't. And nobody understands that everybody, like, we are all figuring it out as we go along. I don't care how well your life looks. I don't care how much you think you have it together.
Imagine if you're supposed to graduate. Like me, I'm supposed to graduate this year, and my parents are on me like, hey, you're supposed to graduate this year. Your friends are like, when are you going to graduate? You were the top student at From. You were the top, you did really well at Andrews. Why are you not graduating? And I'm like, yo, certain times things happen for a reason, and sometimes you're failing out at school, you're trying to tell them that, okay, it's not me, it's somebody else, but they don't believe, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm just all in this by myself. It doesn't make any sense I try anymore. I'm never ever going to be a pharmacist. You know what? Why don't I just cut myself, or why don't I just die?
I can relate to that because I have generalized anxiety, so it's right. So everything that I do or everything that I'm about to do, it seems like a huge thing. So for example, at school, there's this pressure that you need to live up to this sort of standard. And I was supposed to graduate last year, but I had to stop going to school because of financial issues. And that sort of anxiety that built up because everybody else is doing something with their lives and you're not going to get it, it's terrible. So that comes back to where depression, where a mental illness comes from. It's things like external factors or even internal things.
How you react to them.
Exactly, how you react to them. So it's the idea that if I do not graduate this year when I'm supposed to graduate, then I'm going to disappoint my parents, and people from the outside are going to look in on me and say, but she not work none, she good for nothing, right. She's not as bright as she used to be, or she's not bright at all. So that goes back to where depression comes from, and then you cannot speak about it, or it's hard for you to speak about it because it's stigmatized. Anxiety is just nerves, get over it.
And I think it's important that's why we need to have more training of persons who are supposed to be aware and supposed to be able to detect the issues from early on. So even when you have parenting, parents are supposed to be able to realize, so be in tune with their child and understand that my child is undergoing some kind of pressure.
Because there are some
and they
symptoms
realize that they need to get
right.
counseling.
Sorry, but I have to cut you, Robin. But I was saying that emotional intelligence is what every one of us needs to understand, because if we understand it, emotional intelligence is a parent-to-child thing, or more of a nurture thing, or a social thing, right? So we have to learn to socialize amongst ourselves and so forth. We're going to talk about a lot of solutions after this break. Stay tuned, Talk Up Youth.
We have to build the youth, stand up youth in Jamaica.
It's a new day, filled with new challenges and possibilities. It's another opportunity for us to be the best that we can be. Now is the time to work diligently and creatively with true respect for all. Now is the time to think honestly, serve faithfully, and respond to duty's call.
Let's keep it clean today.
Mommy had it really hard raising 3 kids on her own.
At 17 years old, I became a father.
I started baking because I wanted to make a little extra money to just go to school.
At the time, I had to use small-scale farming to support both myself and my daughter.
When the time came to pay for my SE6 subjects, the scholarship from Cranwater, that was a blessing.
The scholarship was actually one of the greatest things that I could earn.
It's very important to pursue education and to strive towards greatness.
We have to build the youth, stand up youth in Jamaica. Build the youth, stand up youth in Jamaica. We have to build the youth, stand up youth in Jamaica.
Welcome back to the show. As you know, I've faced mental issues myself, and here are my solutions. I think in Jamaica, we don't have enough quiet time, and what that is, it means we don't meditate enough. We don't take moments to sit down and just listen. We talk a lot. We make a lot of noise. We try to figure life out too much. I don't think we sit down and we just listen. And you should know that 10 minutes of just sitting changes the way your brain is. You're a medical student, and that simply means that just by sitting down and doing nothing and thinking nothing just for 10 minutes can change your life, and it can change a lot for you. That's called meditation, and I think we should implement it in schools. If we have a problem calling it meditation, we can call it quiet time. I think it's something we really should implement all across Jamaica, and all across, not only in schools, just in every aspect that we could implement some quiet time. We should, because we talk too much here. We talk too much, and that is a part of the problem why we have this toughen up stigma. It's because we don't take time to just find ourselves. We don't take time to just relax and just let your body become one again. I have meditated. I have taken quiet time. Every time I become flustered, I stop for a moment and I meditate. There are many different ways to meditate. You can candle gaze. You can just listen to some music. And when I say music, I don't mean music with lyrics. There are different types of music with just instrumentals that you can listen to, and it does change a lot for you. It does change your mind. It does change your body. It does change the way you feel, your vibration and all of that. And it works for me. As a result of meditation, I'm less flustered. I don't feel the way I used to feel before I meditate. And Jamaica, stop telling us to toughen up. It's not something we can let go of. It's something that we cannot control, and it's something that we need your help for. And in turn, it will help you. It will help our country. So stop telling us to toughen up and help us.
Policymakers or lawmakers, we need to redefine how we look at mental health, what we define mental health as. And we also need to look at the schools and the guidance counselors, the parents, the teachers, and put some type of framework where they're educated on these topics. We need to update what our guidance counselors learn and how they interact with students and how they talk to students with different problems. That way, we'll have a healthier society, starting from when them small to when them big. We just need to change not only how we look at mental health personally, but how we as a country and how the government looks at mental health. And as a medical student, I have the opportunity to know about certain things that persons have access to. So for example, doctors, nurses, everyone who works in hospital and clinical settings, they know that if you go through NHF, you can get your medications for free, or that there are many facilities that can help you out. And this information should not just be kept to ourselves and given to a small number of patients, but that the public should be aware of this, and that we need to give this information out to the public so that persons can just access these things and help to improve them as well.
Sometimes we don't really have to go to the drugs side. We can do like natural healing, you know. Sometimes jogging, bonding with nature is very good. I do that like almost every day. Even though sometimes I'm in the city, I like to go outside and just experience, look on stuff, observe, you know, enjoy life and see how other people are doing stuff, other people are probably enjoying themselves and so forth. And just take part in nature. In so being, you can like meditate as well, like eat more healthy, you can take jogs, you know what I mean? You can talk to people, which is very good as well. You know, sometimes you can dance as well, exercise. You know, sometimes when you exercise, you release certain stresses, certain sweat, you know what I mean? Bust a sweat, man. Yeah, you know? Full joy yourself and just enjoy life. You know, sometimes the antidepressants will just make you more depressing because you just take it, sit down there and say, all right, now get better. You know, but sometimes it doesn't work.
Even if it is that you don't see anyone you can confide in because they will think that you're weak, you can always go to a pharmacy and voice your issue. You can explain to them, well, you know, I'm experiencing depression, or I think that these are the symptoms that I'm experiencing. What can I do about it? And even when he even mentioned that the drugs, right? Because I know antidepressants to be very, very addictive. As he said, hold some exercise and build a vibes and meditate, and when you have some free time. And don't look at it as like, oh my God, I'm mad, I'm crazy, it's a mental issue. Look at it as, you know, it's just part of life. You have to work with it. You have to just cooperate with the thing and just try to be comfortable. Try to find someone you can talk to. Deja mentioned a hotline group, maybe someone in Jamaica. You know, you can coin that, you know, where persons who are experiencing deep problems, even if it has to be anonymous or something, right? Try to help out the youths them and say, you know, so we can all our vibes it and become what we want to be, which is a great big bundle of potentiality.
Stigma in Jamaica can only be removed when we deconstruct these beliefs that we have, and the government needs to play an active role in that. And it starts from going to the basic, primary and high school level. I believe that we can incorporate Mental Health Week. I did that as a part of the UA Model United Nations Club, where we had a Mental Health Week. Incorporate Mental Health Week into high schools, primary schools, basic schools, where you have psychologists, psychiatrists coming in, explaining to kids on their level what these mental illnesses are, what are the signs of it, and how they can seek help and attention from it. Incorporate suicide hotlines or counseling hotlines within the school community so that students know that they can call this number, speak about it, unleash, unburden, and have somebody to help them to seek the attention that they need.
Family Life Ministries, the Jamaica Mental Health Advocacy Network, and the Committee of Upliftment of the Mentally Ill. Those are just few of the agencies and organizations out there who are prepared to help persons who are dealing with mental health issues. And you find that if you have a problem, you can go there, you can seek counseling. You can go to a pharmacy, just like Kimberly said, you can talk to our pharmacist and you can get the help that you need. You can live a normal life. You can live an awesome life. All you need is to be prepared to ensure that you tackle the issue. We understand that you're out there and you're feeling hurt. It doesn't matter what, whether it be from bullying or from any other reactions that you've had to a negative situation. You can get the help that you need. And you find that if the government of Jamaica just spend a little bit more money on these organizations, more work can be done. Even the Jamaica Mental Health Advocacy Network, they're going to be doing a program this summer, and you find that if we have more sponsors who come on board, this can definitely help the situation, decrease the amount of suicides that happen, and there should be more advertising of the problem so that persons know that it's a problem that can be treated, that they can get help, and that they're not alone. Call a suicide hotline. Call persons who you trust. There are counselors, there are pastors out there who are willing to help you. There are friends that know of the situation. And just like we say, build up vibes, enjoy yourself, full enjoy yourself, and stop stress.
And parents out there, I'm saying this to you, please become more emotionally intelligent towards your children. Get a bond with them, start up a bond, right? Start to know what they like from what they dislike, how they feel, what type of persons they are. Once you know that, everything will be good. Once you're seeing any problems with them, you can always go to any counselor, anybody else, you know what I mean? Sometimes these children are not ill-mannered or anything, it's just the way how they feel about certain things, you know? So we just have to go through and experience and learn from our experiences. And now we're going to hear a good word from Stepper.
Me mental not healthy, but no one listen to me. Me mental not healthy, but all them do is laugh at me. It seems society take mental health for joke thing higher. Sometimes I just feel like me just want burn a fire. Me mental not healthy, but all them I do is laugh at me. Sometimes I just want to cut me throat with a piece of bammy. Chuck off and drown in a cup of coffee. No beard and go green in a callaloo. Sometimes I feel like me that just take my life, leave my children and my boo. My mental no healthy, but nobody now listen to me. All them I do is laugh at me. My mental no healthy, but nobody now listen to me. All when me silent, me a shout. All when me silent, me a shout. Even if you now hear nothing out of my mouth. Sometimes I sit down, me just get so stressed out. My mental no healthy, but yet still nobody now listen to me. You see me at the up here chant poetry. I sick, and me just express myself fire. So when you see me, I feel like me just want bonfire. Selassie, I know. My mental no healthy, but nobody now listen to me.
Talk out youth, we say we talk out youth.
We have to build the youths there. Youth in Jamaica.
Talk of Youth is powered by National Baking Company in association with Cran Water, a Stanley and Empress production, giving the youth a voice.